everyone. My name is Ben, and I am so thankful that you're here on Kids Church Online. Because if you weren't here, I would literally just be a video existing somewhere on the internet with no home, which would be weird. So I really appreciate the fact that you tuned in. What about you? Are you thankful for anything today? Nice. I think it's fantastic to think about being grateful for things, but honestly, we also need to show some gratitude, right? We need to let the people know that we see them when they do amazing things for us, because gratitude is letting others know you see how they've helped you. If someone helps you out, let them know that you're thankful. If someone is kind, let them know that you see their kindness. If someone's like, hey, watch out for that quicksand, it's probably a good idea to be like, thanks, because I didn't want to step in that quicksand. Don't forget to shout it out. Say thank you. Hey, before we dive into our awesome videos today, it's time to worship. So get on your feet and let's worship together.
draw near, you change the atmosphere. There's no shame anymore. The sin that held my heart, you have lifted off. bright inside, the future open wide. You are all I'm living for. If there's no powder fee, I am in the clear. You've overcome it all. In you, I come alive. Eyes wide, the dreams inspire. Your truth has opened my eyes. My heart's alive, my heart's alive. The weight has been released. No pressure on me, no pressure on me. Love has rescued me. Forever I'm free, forever I'm free. Oh. The weight has been released. No pressure on me, no pressure on me. Love has rescued me. Forever I'm free, forever I'm free. Oh. The weight has been released. No pressure on me, no pressure on me. Love has rescued me. Forever I'm free, forever I'm free.
Great job worshiping, everyone. In today's video, we're checking in with our friend Lawson as he tells us an incredible story about gratitude.
Hey everybody, I'm Lawson and I'm incredibly grateful that my mom made 2 pumpkin pies because I don't think I can just stop with one.
You can stop with one. The other one is for dinner tomorrow.
Oh. Well, thanks for those words of wisdom, Mom. Even though my stomach is now sad. Be right back. Anyway, I'm practicing gratitude, especially after an amazing story I heard from this girl Ashanti, who's a friend of my cousin Layla. Now Ashanti and her older sister Kendra are going to drive way north of the city and hike on this incredible trail that Kendra discovered. And Ashanti knows it's gonna be the best day ever! But just as they're packing up to go, it starts to rain. A lot! For like 40 days and 40 nights. And Ashanti's like, no! The whole day is already messed up. But then, Ashanti sneezes 3 times in a row. So loudly, the walls shake. Now, they can't go hiking, plus Ashanti's getting sick. Kendra tries to cheer her up and says, hey, we can still make s'mores. And it's all going great until kablam! Ashanti tries to check it out. She gets hit with a puff of burnt marshmallow fluff. Ashanti is completely done with this day. She stares out the window, wondering how soon she can just go to bed. But then, Ashanti starts to notice something. The rain on the window looks really cool. She says, wow, it's like stained glass. Then Oreo, who's really Kendra's cat, comes up and curls up with Ashanti and purrs, like a lion. And Kendra offers to teach Ashanti how to play chess, which Ashanti's been begging her to do for like 3 years. And pretty soon, Ashanti realizes that even though her day's not going to plan, she can still say, hey, thanks. Because she's got a lot to be grateful for. So kids, never hike over Niagara Falls without a barrel. But do always remember that gratitude is letting others know you see how they've helped you. Achoo! Uh-oh.
Tissues on the counter, throat drops in the cabinet.
Thanks, Mom. I'll see you guys next time.
What an awesome video. Today's Bible story is inspired by the book of Matthew chapter 20. Let's check it out.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 20, verses 1 through 15.
While Jesus taught in many different ways, he often shared the most important truths as stories. He used the things and animals and situations in people's everyday lives to help them understand things that were bigger. One day, Jesus explained to his closest friends what the kingdom of heaven was like, and he used a story to help it connect. Now, if he told that story to us today in our world right now, I think it would go a little something like this. There once was a man who owned a large vineyard.
Here at Grape Escape Vineyards, we specialize in red, white, and green grapes.
One bright autumn day, the man called in his manager to find out how his harvest was doing.
It's doing great.
Thanks a bunch. We shall pick the grapes immediately before the beetles nibble them up.
That's some good raisoning.
The next morning, the vineyard owner rose while it was still dark and hurried to the center of town. He arrived at around 6 a.m. and there were people still standing around noshing on grape jelly muffins.
Are you looking for work?
Yes, indeed. How much do you pay?
$100 for the day.
Precisely perfect. Let us proceed.
The owner led the workers back to his vineyard.
Baskets, hats, don't squash the grapes.
Oh, well, what happens if we do that?
They might whine a little.
The vineyard owner wanted to be sure that the beetles wouldn't ruin his precious grape harvest, so around 3 hours later at 9 o'clock, he returned to the town center and found more people lined up for work.
You come pick grapes for me. I'll pay you well.
Good deal. Let's go.
The workers were all picking as fast as they could, but there were still long rows to harvest, so the vineyard owner went back to the town center at 12 o'clock noon 3 hours later, and there were still plenty of workers standing around.
Come, help out in my vineyard.
And after the new set of workers had worked for 3 hours, the vineyard owner returned to the town square again at 3 o'clock.
Need some more grape pickers, you in?
The blazing sun beat down as the vineyard owner added the new workers to his crew. One of the men hired at dawn wiped sweat off his face as he sipped his water.
Showing up for work in the afternoon. What a terrible work ethic.
The first workers returned to picking grapes, filling basket after basket. But even though it was still 5 o'clock, the vineyard owner returned to the town square where he still found plenty of people hanging around counting cockroaches and looking bored.
Why have you been standing here all day?
No one, hired us.
I'll hire you. Come work in my vineyard.
For the final hour of the workday, everybody pitched in. Whew! As the last baskets of grapes were brought up, the owner called to his manager.
Just look at all these beautiful grapes, all freshly harvested.
A great job, if I do say so.
Pay the workers. Start with the ones I hired last of all.
So the manager pulled out his cash box and lined up the workers. He started with the ones who only picked grapes for an hour.
Here you go. $100.
Totally rad, man.
At the other end of the line, the workers who began at dawn began doing some quick math.
$100 for 1 hour of work? Huh, that means we're about to get over $1,000.
The manager continued to hand out pay packets to the workers who started at 3 o'clock
$100.
and noon
$100.
and 9 o'clock in the morning.
$100.
Okay.
By the time the workers who started at 6 a.m. reached the front of the line, they were getting a little bit worried.
You're paying us what's fair for working all day, right?
Yep. $100.
What? Preposterous.
The early morning workers stalked off to find the vineyard owner.
You paid those hooligans who only worked an hour the same as us, even though we sweated all day picking your grapes. Just look at this crispy sunburn.
Fred, didn't you agree to $100 for the whole day?
That is a technicality.
Do you feel cheated because I gave so freely to the other workers? Don't I have a right to do what I want with my own money?
But it's not fair.
Take your money and go. I want to give the ones I hired last the same pay I gave you.
The early workers glared and skulked away, cash in hand. They had let the owner's generosity to someone else ruin their day. Jesus' story made it clear. God gives freely to everyone. Rather than focusing on what you don't have, adjust your attitude. Choose to look at what you do have.
It's tough when life just doesn't seem fair. I totally get it. Sometimes things happen that are totally out of our control, and we feel like we're missing out on something good. But there's something that we can control with God's help, and that's our attitude. Our bottom line says it best. It says, adjust your attitude. You can find a way to be grateful in any situation. It's hard sometimes, but it's still a choice. You can choose how you react. You can choose what your attitude will be. You can choose to make the right choice and decide to be thankful for whatever you have instead of just getting mad and being unthankful. It can help you adjust your attitude when you think about all that God gave us. He gave us Jesus. Jesus died for us so that we could have a relationship with God and be forgiven. We didn't deserve a gift like that. No one did, but God gave it to us anyway. He showed love to all of us. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you guys next week.